Hello, all of you fellow type 1s out there. This is Dr. Jody, and today I'm going to give you some tips for holiday eating. I think it's very typical that we might not eat our typical normal, if whatever is your normal food is, holidays can bring, some extra challenges. So I'm going to share that with you today. I am Dr. Jody. I've had type 1 for 40 years, and I have come live on Facebook since March, ever since our COVID world began, to be a source of light inspiration to all of us with type 1. I run a virtual practice. I've been helping type 1s all around the world for almost a decade. I have online courses, and today I just want to share some tips about if you're going to, kind of have some holiday eating, what are my favorite tips, all right? So here are my tips for holiday eating. First of all, I need to let you know that my general food philosophy is that we should eat whole food, which is food that grows from the earth, vegetables, low glycemic fruits, healthy proteins like fish and nuts and seeds, lots of good veggies, right? Real food that nature created and not that man created as much as possible. And we will have an easier job managing our blood sugar when we eat lower carb, right? Some whole grain toast with eggs for breakfast instead of a bowl of cereal, for example. An open face sandwich with one piece of bread instead of, burgers and fries, right? With a milkshake. We get all these choices around food, and you will have an easier job managing your blood sugars when you make choices that are lower carb. That is my experience, and as is the experience of the thousands of patients that I've worked with. But I also believe that we need a little wiggle room. And I grew up for 40 years. I've had it for 40 years, and I grew up being very restricted. And being very restricted around food is not fun for any of us, right? In my case, it created a lot of rebellion, and who wants to be told they can never have something? So when I work with patients, I really teach an 80 to 20 rule, or I kind of more like 90-10 rule, which means 80 to 90% of the time, we're really making easy, healthy, low carb choices. Well, low carb and wholesome choices. And that allows us a little wiggle room, right? 10% of the time, maybe we can have a treat. And I found that philosophy works really well for a lot of people, because you are not just eating like what I recommend a type 1 should eat like, but actually you're eating like how the world should eat, right? No one, whether you have diabetes or not, should be eating a lot of high carb processed foods, right? So I always say, no, it's not a diabetes diet. It's a healthy diet, period, right? Whole food most of the time, a little bit of carb that's higher carb now and then. So this holiday season could be that little 10% now and then time, right? You have your favorite dessert. Maybe you want potatoes or, whatever your favorite carb indulgence is. So here are my tips for you on that. Number one, earlier in the day, the better, because big meals are complicated to dose for. I hope you have been following me long enough to know that carb counting alone doesn't work. We need to consider the time of digestion, the amount of food we're having, the amount of fat and protein that's involved. A big holiday meal can be digesting for hours, and yet rapid peaks in about 30 to 90 minutes, and it's mostly out of the system at about 4 hours. So that timeline of rapid doesn't always match the timeline of digestion of a meal, right? Especially if you're going to have a dessert after a whole bunch of protein that you ate, right? That's going to make it last even longer. So that's why I say, if we need several hours to be managing our blood sugar, right? Because you might not just take one shot at the start of the meal. You might have to do an extended bolus. You might need a little bit of extra insulin for the next several hours. So if you can get your friends, luckily we're not having really big dinners this year, or big in terms of how many people. Hopefully you can have one during midday or even before 4, right? A big holiday dinner at 7 or 8 it's too hard throughout the night. It's too hard to dose for. You've got to make a lot of adjustments for a big meal like that, and moving your body is also a really great way to manage highs after a treat or a big meal, right? So have your indulgence earlier in the day so you have time to be active and manage it. Dex is beeping at me. I just hit 120. Where is it? Yep, there we go. I'm 122. I need a little insulin. Yes, this is how fine-tuned I run my program. I prefer to be below 120. So my high alarm is at 120. And that is what's possible for you when you follow me, take my video courses, and or work with me. or join my membership program that I'll be launching in January. Stay tuned for that. So that's tip number 1, eat early in the day. Tip number 2, as I've already alluded to, is don't expect that one shot's going to cover your whole meal. If you're going to have a big meal, you're going to need extended insulin over time. I wish I could explain how to do that. I have a whole course called How to Dose Properly, Why Carb Counting Doesn't Work, that explains it. But you can't think that one shot that works like this, peaks and then is done, is going to accurately keep your blood sugar level in range when your food might digest like this for hours, right? Or there might be a peak and then it might keep going. So if you're feeling like your carb counting doesn't work, that's why. Like, carb counting alone just isn't the whole piece of the puzzle. So realize that you might need, a little bit of extended insulin over time. And then, of course, number 3 is if you feel like you're going to eat something that's going to spike you really fast, you've got to dose your insulin earlier, right? Because if you dose and then eat, the food sprints and insulin walks, okay? So for the insulin to be hitting and working at the time that the sugar from your meal or your carb is spiking, you need to give your insulin in advance, right? How far in advance depends on what you're eating and what your number is and all of that. But just be aware that if you dose right now and then you eat something that's going to spike you right away, you're going to go on a roller coaster, okay? And let's see, that's number 3. What was tip number 4? Maybe I'll just go with 3 today. I have an endless number of tips, but eat earlier in the day, realize the 1 dose isn't enough, and pre-dose. Okay, I had another one, but I don't know, maybe I have stage fright today. Maybe that's why I'm high. Maybe I'm stressed. Anyways, let's see. We've got lots of comments going on here today. All right. Let's see. Okay, hi, Sue. Sue's watching. Millie's watching. Lindsay. Hi, Lindsay. Rebecca is watching. And Maureen. Hi, Maureen. Sheena. Happy holidays, Jody. Absolutely. Healthy eating is a wise choice for health. Yes. Lisa. Hi, Lisa. I cannot eat dessert. It lowers my immune system so fast and gives me some extreme body pain even days later. Well, we are all individuals, and if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. Some people are all or nothing, right? So this 10-90-20, 90-10 rule doesn't work. They don't allow them, they can't stay in the 10% when they go there. And if that's you, that's fine. Stacy, hi Stacy. Maureen, which is better option for a pump user? High temp basal or rapid several times every few hours? Doesn't matter, as long as you're giving yourself insulin over time, whichever you feel more comfortable with. Temp basal, extended bolus, or rapid several times. Up to you. Lisa, I'm avoiding other houses due to them forcing me to eat and them not understanding food effects. Those are choices we all get to make. So if that feels empowering to you, I respect you, absolutely, and I get it. Hi, Lisa. All right. Those are great comments. You can keep leaving comments below, even if you're watching the recording. I come live Mondays and Wednesdays right around 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern. So I'm wishing you all a very happy holiday season. And I'm glad you're following me. Please check out my website. All you have to do to find it is Google Dr. Jody Diabetes. I have a lot of great resources there to help type 1s, which I'm committed to doing. And the more followers, the more I get to help more people, and that makes me happy. So I hope this video has made you happy. I hope you have a great holiday season, and I will see you on Monday. Bye for now.